Hi, Mrs. Short here. I wanted to send a video to let you know what we'll be doing in class. This week is when we really start jumping in and working on content. And there'll be homework, of course, because if you don't practice math, you do lose it. The first thing that I want to show you is the calendar that the first group is doing. Now these calendars go along with our interactive wall calendar that we have in the classroom. We made these calendars today, the August one, September one, and along with this goes with the calendars, the weather. So we do the weather for each day. We highlight it. Each time the month changes, we'll do this again. They did really good today on the hundreds chart, so we have to finish that tomorrow. And then we will move on to these other pages that we didn't get to today. So that is the calendar. It stays in the classroom, so you probably won't see that. Go home with your child. And then the next things that we'll be working on are days of the week. Each group will do these. These will be sent home as homework. And it's important that they know how to spell it and write it. Capital letter in the front, and then they have to spell it. So what they'll do is they'll trace it. In the first one, for example, they'll say Sunday, and as they're tracing, they will say Sunday, and that's super important that they say it aloud. The more senses that you can hit with a child, the more they'll remember. And so they can also use color. Color is how our memories are remembered in color. And so if they could color these with crayon, colored pencil, marker, whatever, then do so. They're free to do that. So those will be assigned to do at home. I'm not a writing teacher, I'm a math teacher. So they will have to do these things at home. Months of the year, they will have to know these as well. So what they'll do is they'll color and then they'll trace. There's 4 of them down here, and same thing, as they're tracing, they need to spell it aloud. And all the months are there, and these will be assigned, not all at once, of course, because that's too overwhelming. So it'll be one each time that it's assigned, and I will get a schedule going for you. This will all start next week. I printed everything today and found it online. Those, you might ask, why do they need to know that? Because time is measured by a calendar in terms of days, months, and years. And that's what our unit is about, is measuring time. So it's not just using a clock. It's way more involved than that. Also, the kids, this is for the younger ones, they're gonna have to learn like their numbers. And so it starts with 0, goes all the way to 20, and they'll only do these once each time they're assigned. So we'll do the top part together, and then they'll do the bottom part. And what they'll do is, it's called rainbow, and that's because you'll use 3 different colors, and you will trace the number and the word. And same on the back. You can use colors or a pencil. We'll have the top part done in class, and then you guys will need to do the bottom part at home. So it's front and back, and so that is what that is. You'll trace it, say the letters as you're tracing, so they can learn how to spell them. Why do they need to know how to spell? Because we do a lot of writing in math. Even though it's math, you would have to know how to spell the words and the numbers, so that you can answer problems. Whenever asked for the spelling of a number, we'll have to be able to do that. And of course, I'll help them in class, but I would rather them know it if they can. The older kids will get a page like this, and I only want them to do 5 at a time. It's like a vocab list, so they will practice it like they practice their other spelling list. But I also have this booklet, and it's a fun way to practice spelling without doing the same old, write them however many times. Well, these, you can do fun activities with your child and make it more fun. They're still learning, they're still practicing, but it's way funner for them to do it. So that one's called Rainbow Writing and Word Practice. the one that had the colors. And the older kids, they'll just use they'll pick their own assignment. And then another thing that the students will be doing is they will all be practicing how to write their name. This is for the older students. This is for group 3. They'll be doing cursive right out the gate. So I'll teach them how to do that just by showing them, and then they'll practice it at home. And the younger kids will start out with print. Group 2 will start out with print, and then they will learn cursive. And why do they need to know their first and last name? Well, because we have an economy system at the school, and we give out checks. So they're paid every 2 weeks or every 1 week, and they have to be able to sign the back of their check. And the checks are just the same size as a regular check that you and I would receive. So they need to be able to do their first and last name. So please work with that at home. Even if you're not given an assignment, they need to know that. So the unit we're starting this week is telling time. So the students will have these little clocks to work with. They can take them home. We'll probably put them in our composition notebook. It tells you underneath what the minute is for that. If it's on the 7, it would be 35. So these students can practice this at home. Highly recommend you getting a clock like this. You can get them really cheap at probably Dollar Tree or any store in that fashion. And yeah, that way they can practice at home. You can write down some times for them to do, or I could give you a list, whichever works out for you. This is another clock you might see the students using. If not at home, they'll be in the classroom. This will be for the younger students because it really shows you everything. It's all there. These clocks here be for the older students. And these are the type of things you're going to see come home with your child, like a time diary. We'll probably put, like bedtime, when do they get up, what do they do after school, what time. So the time goes here, the event goes there. That's something that your student will come home with. And the type of worksheets that we'll be working with are these. Students will be telling time to the hour, to the half hour, to the quarter hour, to 5 minutes, and then to the minutes for the older students. So they should become very fluent in reading the clock. They're going to learn the difference between AM and PM. They'll also learn the difference whenever it comes to elapsed time. So it's one of the standards. They'll be given a word problem, and they have to figure out how much time has passed and figure out what the time would be if given the time that has passed. Also, they'll be using something similar to a number line for elapsed time. So those are the types of things that you might see in their folder. The older students will learn Roman numeral. And I will try to get a clock that has Roman numerals on it so they can refer to it while they're in the classroom. If you have one, then great. That would be nice for them. And also, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Remember, I only answer math questions because I don't know much of anything else. I do know that some of you are concerned about the standards. I was trained in public schooling, and we will be using Common Core standards. Now, the difference between me and other teachers is that I will not make your child use a certain strategy for solving a problem. We will learn all the strategies presented in our curriculum, and then the student can decide which one they want to use to solve the problem. And as long as they can show me how they solved, I don't care what they use. As long as they get the correct answer and they can show me what they did. So I will be in touch, and I'll be sending a note home. Please look at the newsletter every week that it comes out. Also, on some of your papers for your child, you might see these stamps. They say like quiz and test, please complete and return, completed together, please sign and return, to the parents of, homework, complete for homework, or try again and return. So you might see some of these on your child's papers. I also like to use stickers. They all like stickers, so I like to use that to encourage them. So if you have questions, don't forget to email me or text me. I'm available. Also, if your student needs extra help, get in touch with me. Maybe I can help them after school. You would have to, of course, get permission from the office, but I'm willing to work with anyone that's willing to work. So y'all have a great night, and I love your children, so I hope you do too. Bye-bye.